Welcome to Rewatch and Rank. On this channel, we rewatch older TV shows, provide a summary and opinion on the episode before ranking each episode against each other. And today's episode is Bleach, Soul Society The Rescue Arc, Episode 58, Release the Black Blade, The Miraculous Power. Episode in a nutshell is a brief reminder of what happened in the episode. So this episode is kind of the one that I've been waiting for. And at the end of the last episode, Ichigo challenged Byakuya to use his Bankai, and at the start of this episode, Byakuya's like, okay, I accept that, you've countered Senbon and Sakura, I'm going to use the Bankai. He then uses the same Bankai that he used against Renji in order to face Ichigo with it, and basically a bunch of giant swords come out of the ground, and then they break apart into even more petals than there were before. And obviously they attack Ichigo, and Ichigo first tries to counter them with his Shikai. However, then he realizes that that was kind of silly of him because, facing a Bankai with a Shikai just is foolish. And so he decides to release his Bankai, and it is very, very visually stunning, but it does take a long time for the Bankai to release. And as it's releasing, we get some little forays into other characters. So we see Hitsugaya and Matsumoto going to what he says is the Central 46 compound to appeal to them about Rukia's what have you sentence and about Aizen and all the other things that seem to be going oddly in the Soul Society. Then we also see Inoue, Ishida, Sato, Ganju, and the member of Squad 11 that's still hanging around. Also sensing Ichigo's power and finally making it to the base of the execution grounds. Then the Bankai is released, and at first Byakuya doesn't think it's a Bankai because it's so small, and Bankai are supposed to be very large, and he basically questions whether Ichigo's actually managed to reach Bankai, especially since he's a Ryoka, and he still is under the impression that his Shinigami powers come from Rukia, not from himself. And so he's like, it's impossible that you could have possibly gotten to the Bankai, and then it's so small. But then he kind of becomes a little bit shocked because Ichigo manages to make it to his neck before backing off. They then battle with their Bankai, and Byakuya starts to realize that the power of Ichigo's Bankai is that by making it more small and condensed, it's increased his speed and combat ability to basically the maximum that it can be because everything is concentrated and condensed to make it more powerful as opposed to most other Bankai where it basically expands and spreads out. And so they continue their fight with the ending of Ichigo managing to wound Byakuya, who manages to catch his sword, but we are still left on a cliffhanger as the battle is ongoing. So now that we've been reminded about what happened in the episode, we'll now rank the episode. As always, we'll start on our mostly objective ranking list, followed by the personal ranking list. So to start off with, we have our multi-arc supporting character growth. Hitsugaya, before he goes to the Central 46 compound, uses a Kyomon, which is a mirror door, to hide Hinamori, who is now sleeping. Or 3 points. 3 points for the impactful, memorable, moment line, etc. Like I said, this is the epic fight I've been waiting for, and waiting for, and waiting for, and waiting for. And so now that it is finally here, I think it's very impactful because it is very exciting, and it is what I have been waiting for. Him to get the Bankai to be revealed, the rematch with Byakuya. Byakuya's beautiful, beautiful sword, Zanpakuto, because honestly, it's my favorite. So basically, I've been waiting for this epic fight, and it's happening now finally, so I think it's worth those 3 points. And then 4 points for the multi-arc Main character growth, which is Ichigo revealing his Bankai, the Tensa Zengetsu, or Heavenly Chain Slaying Moon. And that gives us 10 out of 10 for this episode. So with that 10 now being there, as always, we rank in episode order when more than one episode has the same score. So we start with Flash Goddess Yoruichi Dances, The Despicable Shinigami, Ishida The Utmost Limits of Power, Morning of the Sentence, Genichimaru's Temptation, Resolution Shattered, An Accomplished Oath, Get Back Rukia, Supersonic Battle, Determine the Goddess of Battle, Senbon Zakura Crushed, Zangetsu Thrust Through the Sky, and then this episode is in 9th, Release the Black Blade, The Miraculous Power, Hitsugaya Howls, The Strongest Shinigami, Ultimate Confrontation Between Teacher and Students, Overcome Your Limits, The Avengers, Rukien's Nightmare, Renji, Oath of the Soul, Deathmatch with Byakuya, that one's hard to read, Authentic Record, School of Shinigami, and then in 17th, The Reviving Lion. Next, we have my personal ranking, and I think I've already said enough. I've been waiting for this episode, I've been waiting for this fight, I've been waiting for this reveal of the Bankai, I've been waiting for everything. So now that it's finally here, I am thrilled, and I am so thrilled that this is the second 10 episode that I have given on the personal ranking in this entire series. So, obviously, really, really happy and liking this episode. And that brings the personal ranking to in first, this episode. Release, The Black Blade, The Miraculous Power, An Accomplished Oath, Get Back Rukia, Ishtar, The Utmost Limits of Power, Supersonic Battle, Determine the Goddess of Battle, Senbon Zakura Crushed, Zangetsu Thrust Through the Sky, The Despicable Shinigami, The Reviving Lion, Renji, Oath of the Soul, Deathmatch with Byakuya, Morning of the Sentence, Hitsugaya Howls, Genichimaru's Temptation, Resolution Shattered, Flash Goddess Yoruichi Dances, The Strongest Shinigami, Ultimate Confrontation Between Teacher and Students, The Avengers, Authentic Record, School of Shinigami, Rukia's Nightmare, and then in 17th we have Overcome Your Limits. And now that brings us to our series ranking so far. Mostly objective side, we have Agent of the Shinigami arc in first with 84%, Soul Society the Sneak Entry arc with 75.24%, Soul Society the Rescue arc with 147 out of 220 so far. On our personal ranking side, Agent of the Shinigami arc with 63%, Soul Society the Sneak Entry arc with 59.52%, and then Soul Society the Rescue arc with 120 out of 220 so far. With that, we have now rewatched and ranked Bleach Soul Society The Rescue Arc, Episode 58, Release, The Black Blade, The Miraculous Power. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you in the next episode.